Welcome to Almost Pro Bites, where we take a quick bite at the biggest issues in sport. There's a moment in sport that didn't really exist 20 or so years ago, where you'd celebrate, your team celebrates, crowd loses its mind, and then everyone stops. You wait, you look at the referee, someone points to their ear, someone in another room starts drawing lines on a screen, and suddenly what felt true and celebrated a few seconds ago isn't certain anymore. Technology was meant to make sport fairer, and in a lot of ways it absolutely has, but it's also changed something bigger. Not just how games are officiated, but how they feel, how we feel. So today we're asking, has technology made sport better, or has it started changing what sport actually is?
Love this topic. Before we all start pretending sport was perfect before technology, it wasn't.
It
People
wasn't.
forget no, people forget how angry fans used to get over like obvious errors, particularly goals being like wrongly awarded or offside calls, match defining moments decided incorrectly. Nothing more triggering, annoying than those moments. And football, I think, is probably one of the best examples of this. Because, I mean, it's World Cup time. Goal line technology feels normal now. But there was a time where goals literally counted or didn't count based on someone's best guess. But technology fixed, this problem. It fixed a really real problem that existed right across sport. Same with FIFA's move toward semi-automated offsides. The intention there, that makes sense to make decisions more consistent, reduce obvious mistakes, protect the integrity of results as well. But it's not just officiating. Technology has completely changed athlete preparation. We've spoken in the past on like load monitoring, recovery, performance analysis. Gosh, there's so many aspects. Injury prevention. There's probably like whole careers that have been extended because of better information now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also I don't know that I miss the times when you could be in the same lounge room, but arguing over a point of view, like who was right. You shouldn't have got that goal, or that, your team shouldn't have got that, or whatever. I don't know that I missed that, but it created something, right? There was a bit of a vibe there. So it definitely made
Maybe hindered relationships a little, but like
yeah, yeah, and even still with technology, I mean, it's not without controversy, but I guess the uncomfortable question is, if technology makes games or outcomes or plays more accurate, do we really want to go backwards? And maybe not. The answer is probably not. But accuracy isn't the whole experience of sport, and I reckon that's the conversation. I reckon that's what gets lost when every moment is sort of reviewable or zoomed in on or put in slow motion. And I think it changes the way we celebrate. It makes our celebration feel conditional, like we've learnt not to fully react, like just a bit celebrate, or even point to the person who does fully react. Like we see those people and we're like, well, you don't know, because the rest of us are hanging at like 80%. We're 80% celebrating, but we can't go all in because technology might overrule it, right? Someone in a bunker somewhere changes the ruling, which changes the emotional experience. Doesn't necessarily change the result. That's not fair to say, because ultimately, if it's a fair call that needed to be made, that's wonderful. But it does change the experience. And I reckon that's where people get frustrated with technology, not because it exists, but because the way authority is now executed feels different, where the ref on the field or on the court or on the pitch or whatever, they used to decide. Now they're kind of like this facilitator, don't you think?
absolutely. You see so many times now where you go to celebrate, but then all heads turn towards the TV to check the replay and to check what
Right.
the technology say here. Can I jump all in this celebration, or do I need to quickly retract that
Mm-hmm.
that joy and excitement? Which
Uh-huh.
raises another question. How much certainty do we actually need? Because as you mentioned, sport has never been perfect. It's part of the beauty of sport is that humans play it, humans coach it, humans officiate it.
Yeah.
And, perfection sounds good in theory until you realize perfection usually means more stoppages, more reviews, more waiting, more analysis. We didn't remove human error. We just moved where it lives, I think. But I mean, there's a whole other side to this conversation as well because technology isn't only there for fairness, and I think that's important to remember. It also affects, the commercial aspect of sport, which is a really big factor and more these days.
And don't you wish we didn't have to talk about this bit?
Kind
I
of.
liked the sport. Like, I liked the bit where we're, like, picturing the moments where we've been at a game with someone who's clearly they're rooting for the opposition, and you just love that moment where it's like, "In your face, this is ours,"
Yeah.
and or vice versa. And you can point to the moments where you've been like, "Okay, I'll sit down now because there's been an overrule," or whatever it is. The fact that we have to step into the commercial conversation kind of changes a little bit of that feeling-based discussion, but it is the reality. Today's sport isn't just about being sport because it is entertainment and it is content for a lot of people, and it's broadcast and it's money and it's data, and the reality is technology makes all of that bigger and truthfully a better experience. We can watch a lot more at home on TV with a better sense of feeling immersed in a game because we've got better angles and we've got better replays, and there's more moments that they package and things to talk about. But the reality is it's because there's more things to sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. And football's an interesting example of this because FIFA in particular has become one of the biggest entertainment products in the world. And particularly right
Tell
now
me
we're
about
seeing
it.
yeah, we're seeing it in action, aren't we? It's
I can't
insane.
get ready in the mornings. I'm in Australia, it's in the US. In the mornings, I'm trying to go about my day, but I need to watch the games.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people calling out to work for the duration of FIFA with the way it is. One of the, viewership stats recently was that there was more views of this single match than there had been, than there is of the entire population of Australia, which is
And
just crazy. Millions and millions of people are watching this on a global scale.
mm,
Huge commercial stakes at play.
mm,
Technology, it is improving the viewing experience because we do now have that ability to be connected across the globe to watch these games, but it also creates more than product, right? Like, and that's not automatically bad. Like, sport needs money. Athletes deserve investment. Fans, they expect quality now, but it does create that question of who are we optimizing sport for? You
mm,
know, is this for the athlete or the fan in the stadium or the audience at home?
mm. And I don't know if we know. I don't know if we know the answer to that. I think what we can both accept is when technology is working in your favor, you're all about it. So, like, if we see something overruled, I reckon we're both like, "Yeah, that's why it's here. That's the best thing ever." And then when it's not, or we feel like it's frustratingly slowing a game down because we're all time conscious, more time conscious than we've ever been, in any generation alive. I think that's when we think it's the worst. It does create stop starts, but the truth is it's not leaving. It's not leaving sport. The conversation of whether it should be or shouldn't be is pretty much gone. It's now about where the line is for where it stops, because every improvement changes something about whatever the experience is for us as followers of sport, as fans, as spectators, as consumers, as we're now called. So sometimes it is for the better, but sometimes it's not. And maybe the challenge isn't protecting sport from technology, but maybe it's making sure technology continues to service sport and not the other way around. I don't know. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear from you. What's the one piece of sports technology you'd keep forever? And what would you toss? What's one thing you think that's gone too far? We'd love to hear. See you next time.
See you then.